everyone. I am starting this new series on midwife reviews because there's a lot of health information for women out on the internet. Some is good, some is bad, but a lot of it is being distributed by people who don't really have any qualifications to distribute it, and a lot of people do come to the internet for medical advice, which is not really the world's greatest idea. So in this series, I'm gonna look at different influencers, see what they're saying about women's health topics, and let you know the good, bad, and the ugly. So today, I am reviewing Raw Alignment, who is a raw vegan YouTuber. I don't really watch her channel. I just came across this video of what I use for birth control. She posted this video on February 4th, 2017. So it's a couple years old. I don't know if she still uses this method for birth control, but she does have 750,000 subscribers, and this video has been seen 1.6 million times. This means this girl's got a lot of reach, and I think it's really important to see what she's saying. So I'm really excited because I love the topic of birth control and fertility awareness and family planning. I can talk about it for hours, but right now we'll just talk about it for a few minutes. So let's get started and see what she has to say.
Of birth control that I'm sharing with you today is for preventing pregnancy, not for preventing STDs. I use this method knowing that I have one partner, one sex partner, who does not have STDs.
Thank you. Thank you, Alyse, for drawing attention to the problem of STDs. I see so many young women come into my clinic for a really highly effective method of birth control and then go out and don't use condoms, even though they don't have a monogamous sexual partner. And so we see a fair amount of STIs in our clinic. And I just want to thank you for making sure that when promoting a natural method of birth control, that you are letting people know it doesn't protect against STIs, and you really need to be responsible about protecting yourself against STIs. So good job, Alyse.
I originally started taking the pill not only to prevent myself from having a baby or getting pregnant, but mainly to get rid of the insane menstrual cramps that I had. It was awful, and I basically felt like I was dying for the first 3 hours of the first day of my period every single month. So that was the main reason why I first started taking the pill, because I was told that taking the pill would regulate that and I wouldn't have as bad of cramps. Prior to taking the pill for the first time, I was never really taught exactly what it was and exactly what it caused to happen in my body. I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't educate myself. I was young, like 16 years old or something, and I just didn't think, and nobody else said to me like, hey, let's talk about what this is. So I was pretty clueless when I started taking it up until like a couple months before I stopped taking it. Keep it super short, the birth control pill messes with your natural hormones. And I'm not going to go into crazy detail, but I am going to link something down below that describes the process in much more detail.
Okay, let's break this down a little bit. The pill can be great for people with severe menstrual cramps, and it was probably the right choice for her at the time. She was 16 after all. Teenagers, 16-year-olds especially, are not always so willing to listen to lifestyle change advice on how they might improve their cramps. I know this as the mother of a 16-year-old. But I get how frustrating it can be when no one tells you how it works. And it seems she's not going to tell you either. So let me give you the short story. The pill suppresses your normal, natural hormonal production by raising your levels of progesterone to the point that your body essentially thinks that you are in the second half, the luteal or post-ovulatory phase of your menstrual cycle all the time. And because of this, it shuts down the axis of communication that exists between your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your ovaries, essentially shutting down ovulation. This is how it works for birth control. Since we are shutting down your normal hormonal cycle and your ability to produce steroid sex hormones, we have to give you the hormones. So the pill contains progesterone, which is really the active ingredient, and estrogen, which is there to kind of help stabilize the bleeding so that in a perfect world, you only bleed when you are either on your pill-free interval or your placebo pill week, depending on the pack of pills that you have. Progesterone also makes the lining of the uterus thinner, and so that is why periods get lighter on the pill. You just don't produce as much of a lining as you would with the natural ebb and flow of your hormones. Progesterone also relaxes smooth muscle, and so this is why cramps get better, because the uterus won't contract as strongly if it's a little bit more relaxed. So that's birth control 101. If no one ever talked to you about how your birth control works and you're on the pill, now you have a basic idea of how it works. If you want me to do a more in-depth video about how birth control pills work, and that includes also not just pills, the patch and the ring, and this is also progesterone and estrogen or combined birth control pills versus the progesterone only methods, which work slightly differently. If you are interested in a more in-depth video about that, just comment down below and I will be happy to make one.
Well, for me, it all began when I found out about the book called Taking Charge of Your Fertility.
1,000 times yes! I think everyone with a uterus and ovaries should own a copy of this book. It is such an amazing resource. If you want to know how your reproductive system works, you should buy this book now. Don't hesitate, pause the video, go to the link below and buy it. It is worth every cent, and you will learn so much about your body and you will be so empowered to understand your body.
So in the book, Taking Charge of Your Fertility, there are a couple of different tracking methods that I've learned about. One of them is tracking your temperature every single morning when you wake up, just taking your temperature in your mouth.
Your temperature first thing in the morning is known as your basal body temperature. So when you take your basal body temperature, you should have your thermometer on your nightstand, and basically your alarm goes off in the morning, you stick the thermometer under your tongue and record the temperature. It is not just your temperature any time of day, so it's really important that you understand the difference between your basal body temperature and your temperature that you might take in the afternoon if you're feeling a little bit sick.
Is to check your cervical fluid. So basically how you do that is you take a finger or two fingers and you stick them up into your vagina and you see what your cervical fluid is like that day. Basically, the fluid inside of you ranges from being thick, being thin, there not being very much of it, to being a lot of it during some times in the month, and this really ranges throughout your entire menstrual cycle. But as you go from month to month to month, there are patterns in this fluid, and you can start to know your body and know what your fluid is like when you are fertile, when you're not fertile, when you're ovulating, getting close to ovulation. And it's honestly really cool to figure out what's going on with your body.
Yeah, it's really cool. I totally agree.
Tracking all of these things really creates a healthy habit in your life and allows you to know exactly what is going on inside of your body. When I was taking the pill, like I said before, I had no idea what was going on inside of my body, what was happening with the hormones, when I was ovulating, what ovulation even was.
Okay, let's get this straight here. You were not ovulating. You were on birth control pills, which were suppressing your ovulation. We talked about that earlier. I love that you feel so empowered. It is awesome. And that is what I hope for with everyone who walks into my office. But this is where I'm going to step in and talk about privilege for a second. Here is a girl living the dream in Hawaii, YouTubing for a living, going to sleep and waking up when she wants, with a partner who, based on this video, is mutually monogamous and respectful of her bodily autonomy. This is someone who doesn't have kids to wake her at all hours of the night. This is also someone who can make her own schedule and get up and go to sleep at the same time every day if she wants. She doesn't have to work shifts. She has access to healthy food, and she has minimal external stressors that could turn her life upside down at any moment. These are all things that can mess with your normal hormonal cycle and make this form of birth control really difficult. And did I mention that she has a partner who is willing to take no for an answer when she is fertile and doesn't think it's time to have sex? Let's talk about that privilege. There are so many women out there who do not have partners who respect their bodily autonomy. Unfortunately, having that is a real privilege, and not everyone does, and therefore this is not a perfect method of birth control for everyone. Anyway, that's my little tangent about privilege, but let's continue and see what else she has to say.
Okay, so there are 2 ways that you can track all of this information. Those 3 tracking methods are things that you'll need to be tuning into on a daily basis, although the book does say that you can choose 2 out of the 3. So the first way to track is by tracking with pencil and paper. This is the way that I first started out, and there are quite a few benefits to doing this. One benefit is that it's really easy to understand what's going on because it's just laid out in front of you, like from day to day to day. Each sheet is a full month. You can just lay out one piece of paper next to another and just see what your cycle is like over the course of a few weeks and a few months. I think that's really great when first getting into it. Another benefit is that it's free. All you have to do is go online and find a tracking chart. Okay, so a second way to track all this information is by using a device. This little guy that I use is called the Daisy. It's super cute. It's actually like the size of my hand, and I have really tiny hands. Basically what this is a thermometer.
There's a lot to unbox here. Free is the way to go. You do not need a $350 device to use the fertility awareness method. And I do think we forgot to mention that this is actually called a fertility awareness method. If you don't want to use a pencil and paper, there are hundreds of free apps that you can put on your phone to track your cervical fluid, your basal body temperature, cervical position, ovulation predictor kits, timing of intercourse, etc., 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 etc. The only thing you will need to lay out money for is a basal body temperature thermometer, which you can get for about $10 on Amazon. And it is important to have a basal body temperature thermometer versus a regular thermometer because it does measure your temperature in 1/10 of a degree instead of the standard 2/10 of a degree. So that's the main difference that we're looking at here. But you do not need a $350 device. That is crazy. This device does not, I repeat, does not make the method more effective. The claims of 99.3% efficacy are a little ludicrous. The device's website even says that they have had to retract these claims. To be sure I had my facts right, I pulled out the Contraceptive Bible, Contraceptive Technology, and looked up the actual stats for fertility awareness methods. They actually break down fertility awareness methods into subcategories, and the one that Alyse is using is called the symptothermal method. The rate of pregnancy with perfect use is 0.4%, which is pretty damned amazing when you get right down to it. But here's the thing. This is what perfect means. Perfect means you go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day, no exceptions. You have normal hormonal cycles. You don't drink alcohol or use any prescription or illicit substances that may interfere with your body's normal circadian rhythm. You don't travel. You don't get sick. See where I'm going here? So the actual rates of pregnancy among users of the symptothermal method in clinical trials is 13 to 20%. That's pretty high. To put that in perspective, birth control pills with perfect use still have a 1 to 2% failure rate. With actual use, it's, you forget to take your pill from time to time, your interval between taking your pills is really high, you travel and have trouble adjusting to time zones, you get sick, things like that. Failure rate is about 7%. So real world use of both of these methods, birth control pills, still a better method. Don't get me wrong, the pill is not perfect. It is not perfect by any means. There are much more effective methods of birth control that have fewer side effects, but it is still a safe and effective way to prevent pregnancy, and some people actually take it for the side effects, and so there are a lot of benefits for some women to take the pill, such as control over their menstrual cycles, improving their acne, lighter periods, better cramps. These are all good reasons to take a birth control pill if you are sexually active and do not want to become pregnant. So from here on in the video, she talks about how she does fertility awareness, how she cured her cramps with her raw vegan diet. I'm less interested in those. She probably didn't have to go raw vegan to improve her menstrual cramps. She could have just eliminated processed foods, caffeine, and alcohol from her diet. In the absence of a structural cause for menstrual cramps like endometriosis, that is a change that works really well for lots of people and doesn't require a whole lot of effort other than kind of giving up some things that you might really enjoy in your life. Despite what this video may seem like, I am not against fertility awareness as a method of contraception. It can be very effective for committed users. What I have found in my years of practice, though, is that we end up having a name for people who use this method of birth control, and that is parents. There are just too many variables. I would not recommend this method to most people as a standalone method because life, right? But in conjunction with a barrier method for people who can't tolerate hormones or for some reason don't want or can't have an IUD, yeah, this can be an amazingly effective method of birth control. It's also really great for people who are trying to become pregnant because it helps you understand your body's fertile signs and when to have sex to get pregnant. If you don't want to be pregnant and you don't want an IUD, you don't want birth control pills, could this be a good method to use? In conjunction with condoms, I would say yes. Alone, as a standalone method, I would never recommend it. Yes, it is true that most methods of birth control do have side effects. You know what else has side effects? Pregnancy. Pregnancy changes your body forever, and pregnancy can be dangerous and life-threatening. So it's not something to sneeze at. Not everybody has access to be able to terminate an unwanted pregnancy easily or at all, and those rights are definitely under attack in this country right now. So we need to be promoting effective methods of birth control so that we can reduce the number of unplanned pregnancies. I'm really glad that Alyse has found a method of birth control that she likes and feels empowered by. I encourage you to have a talk with a trusted healthcare provider about what might be the best method of birth control for you. As a birth control provider, prescriber, inserter, it's really important for me to talk to someone about their lifestyle and help them figure out what is going to be the most effective and least intrusive form of birth control for them. And listen, I understand that not everyone has a trusted healthcare provider or feels really comfortable talking to their family doctor or primary care provider about their sexual health. If that's the case, I strongly encourage you to check out a local Planned Parenthood. This is what they do. Almost all the work that is done at Planned Parenthood is around sexual health and contraception. and their educators can help you figure out which method is best for you and help you get started on that method. Another great thing about going to Planned Parenthood is that you will be treated with respect and your bodily autonomy will be respected 100%. So if you're not sure where to go, check them out. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. And if there are other channels or videos that you would like me to review, comment down below. I'll take a look and maybe you'll see that video up here in the future. For the products that I talked about, taking charge of your fertility and basal body temperature thermometer, you can find links down below to Amazon to purchase those. They are part of the Amazon affiliate program. If you do purchase through my link, it does help my channel, just helps support my ability to continue to make these videos. It's a very small commission and I hope you will consider purchasing through those links. All right, everybody, it was nice to see you and I will see you next time. Have a great day.